Okay. I know I was supposed to drop a rotation video for Fire Team and one for Ice Team 2, but I got a very valid reason why I didn't. I just didn't want to. But I was taking a look through my channel, which you should just totally subscribe to, by the way, and I noticed something devastating. I don't talk about my wife nearly as much as I want to on this channel, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Alpha is obviously the undisputed best character in the game, and isn't even close. From the design, to the character, to just the straight finesse she puts into every single movement, Kuro definitely cooked up here. Even if she doesn't do the most damage in the game anymore, it definitely beats walking up some stairs for 4 minutes straight. I remember last year during the Isla CN livestream, I was kinda half asleep during it because, let's be honest here, it was kind of a snooze, but then they showed Alpha at the end for like 2 seconds, and I'm not gonna lie, that was enough to make me fucking scream, bro. Like, she was there, you already know. I'm sure they was having a meeting deciding what they will do to make PGR better, and some chat was just like, if Alpha just made PGR so good, maybe we should just drop a second frame of her? And to whoever cooked up that frame, they need a promotion for real. It's been a year since Alpha's frame dropped, and I still can't really decide if I like her Crimson Abyss frame more or her Crimson Wii frame. Like, CA easily got the most style in the game, obviously, but CW got that power. And to top it off with how effortlessly she uses it, who else do you know that's throwing an Odachi in the air, catching it mid-air, and then slamming it on the enemy with precision like that? This is a no-brainer because the answer is obviously no one. And to top it off, she does a flip in between all of that. She makes it look so easy. And you know, I'm here for it 100%. But now, let's be honest here. How would you feel if someone did a flip mid-air before slamming their weapon on your face? Me personally, I don't think I'll have any other choice but to respect it. Let me know your opinion in the comments. To top it all off, she wins in the skin department as well. I don't know how Alpha never misses on these coatings or her base skin. It just makes no sense. Even Lucia don't be dripping this hard, and she's a clone of Alpha. Hear me out though. I'm starting to think it has something to do with her being betrayed, that she just started getting like her fashion sense. Now that sounds pretty terrible when I say that out loud. But it makes sense when you like, you know, look at how much drip Lucia has compared to Alpha. God, now I'm starting to imagine something behind the scenes, like Alpha posting up like Vegeta saying shit like, "Damn it! I need to flex on Babylonia as hard as possible! I need drip!" Not only does she win in the skin department, she also wins in the voice lines as well. Don't believe me? Let's go and take a look at these together real quick. Starting with JP. You see, that's what I'm talking about. JP is always cooking, bro. Now listen to the CN one real quick. You know, this one is my favorite by far. Like, this shit goes so fucking hard. Now listen to the English one. I don't have too much experience with this, so, you know, we can experience it together.
The restraint of this disintegration is my blade!
Let's go back to CN real quick. You see, that's what I'm talking about, man. But I also noticed that there's like a fourth one, so like let's try it out. I mean, it isn't bad. I actually kind of like it, but I'm gonna need some help pronouncing it. Give me 1 sec. Alright, so I'm gonna go on just the voice lines of Crimson Weave, and I just want you to, help me out with the voice line,
Bruh, this isn't what you said.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. But anyway, okay, hold on, let me stream real quick. Here we go. So, here's the voice line. So, I'm just gonna recite it and, just give me any pointers if you need. Alright, so let me look at it one more time. Bung look at chupa. Why would it like? So, what do you think? Gnosis? Where'd you go? I think his Wi-Fi went out. Let's just continue. One thing I do think people tend to overlook is how solid of a character Alpha is in the story. And while we're on that topic, I don't know, I don't think enough people appreciate Alpha for the masterpiece she is. And before you guys start talking in the comments saying that she's overhyped and all that other stuff, hear me out. What I'm trying to say is, there are way too many fucking Virgil memes with her. First time it was funny, but after 3 years of it, yeah, it gets kinda annoying, though. It's time to stop, bro. I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't know who Virgil was until I started interacting in the community. And now, I kinda wish I hadn't. Especially when reaction. Wait, actually, hold up. I'm done explaining it, so I'm just gonna show you what I mean. Okay, just let me ask Blanc real quick. Hold on one second. Here we go. So today we got the 100% motivated Alpha versus the twins. I don't know what they're talking about. Let's just see this real quick. Yo, is that? Bro, is that Virgil's daughter? No way. Alpha is an absolutely flawless character, with no flaws or mistakes ever present. Everything is where it should be. And best of all, she's always true to herself. She has no plot holes, and excels in everything, effectively putting it at 10 out of 10. Possible up even above the scale, at 11 out of 10. Alpha is factually flawless, and the true representative of what peak fiction is, given that Alpha is a character with no plot holes, flawless, and entertaining narrative. She's amazingly real, complete, and perfect score when it comes to action and unparalleled messages. It stands objectively above all fiction works in terms of everything. Alpha is flawless, as every aspect and every element across the narrative is perfectly paced. Regardless, Alpha is by far most enjoyable character. Alpha is an absolutely flawless character, with no flaws or mistakes ever present. Everything is where it should be, and best of all, she's always true to herself. She has no plot holes, and excels in everything, effectively putting it at 10 out of 10. Possible, even above the scale, at 11 out of 10. Alpha is factually flawless, and the true representative of what peak fiction is, given that Alpha is a character with no plot holes, flawless, and entertaining narrative. She's amazingly real, complete, and perfect score when it comes to action and unparalleled messages. It stands objectively above all fictional works in terms of everything. Alpha is flawless, as every aspect and every element across the narrative is perfectly placed. Regardless, Alpha is by far most enjoyable character ever. Alpha is top tier. Alpha is clearly the best character ever made and is a masterpiece, and is the greatest character ever in all of fiction. Alpha is simply better, and no character will ever be better. She is the saving grace of PGR. She has the best story, the best fights, the best design, the best backstory, the best themes, the best antagonist, best personality, the best everything. No matter what, no character can top what Alpha has done in every single way. Alpha is the greatest. She was always the greatest, and will continue to be the greatest ever. Alpha is indeed the best. Alpha's story is the best out there. Deep, emotional, interesting, clever, and entertaining. A complete story with great enigmas in this ever amazing world. Just how amazingly empathizing her backstory is, the expertise in how Kuro builds empathy for their character Alpha is second to none. Alpha has a great story with a tragic past. Its story arcs are gradually progressing as the harassment she faced from the Ascension Network progresses more and more. The knowledge of the network more vast, and she as a person evolves, resulting in great plot escalation. Alpha has a work of art of a narrative. Alpha has the great balance of plot-driven narrative and character-driven narrative. In a way, the actions of characters are always related or going towards the ultimate goal, which also helping the surrounding story and plot develop in a natural way. The plot of Alpha is a great way to explore and get the best of its fantastic world building while keeping the story focused and relevant. It all combines into a great plotline in which past and present events are linked by the brilliant strategist of Kuro. Alpha's story is an excellent story of growth, redemption, perseverance, and though very little, friendship. A complex narrative set in a fictional but highly detailed world of interesting, compelling, relatable, and very human characteristics with great and unique motivations, goals, ideologies, and believable backstories that define on how they act, think, and behave, for better or for worse. Her combat is amazing, very complex, and it allows very satisfying fight. In fact, let me tell you about my Alpha. My Alpha is the symphony of precision, orchestrating every aspect of my existence. It navigates the vast expanse of the PGR verse with the grace of a masterful dancer, each step calculated, each move a stroke of artistic genius. Just as a maestro commands an orchestra with finesse, my Alpha conducts the symphony of my actions with unwavering control. In the digital realm, it stands tall, an indomitable force that transcends mere programming. Its algorithm weaves through the complexities of data like a virtuoso musician playing the strings of reality. Every bit and byte harmonizes in the melody of efficiency, creating a composition that resonates with unparalleled balance. Just as the swordsman anticipates the opponent's every move, my Alpha anticipates all the enemies, adapting and evolving with each passing moment. It is not just a character, it is the very essence of my Alpha prowess, if you will. A manifestation of unrivaled intellect and mechanical finesse. In the vast symphony of the PGR verse, my Alpha stands as the conductor, directing the symphony of ones and zeros with the mastery that leaves even the most sophisticated minds at all. It is not just a creation, it's an evolution, a testament to the boundless possibilities that unfolds when intellect and mechanics converge in perfect harmony. She grows in multiple subtle ways with every arc she makes an appearance in, and is constantly maturing as a person, while growing in experience and tactic as fighters. Yeah, even a sword master like her has room to improve. Alpha is a distinctively deep, complex, emphasizable, and understandable character. Her depth lies in reaction and conclusion regarding their own past experiences, the way she took them and built a philosophy of their own from them. They are complex because they don't fall under a single stereotype. She can't be flatly clustered under 2 or 3 words. Instead, she is a balance of multiple character traits that makes her more unique. Her complex mind is often explored and explained by dialogues or thoughts. She is relatable because some of her struggles are similar in nature to struggles that normal people face at some point in their lives, like betrayal. and the reader will easily identify with her story or struggle in particular. Alpha is understandable because by explaining us her story, we get to see the reason why she would go to extreme lengths to achieve her goal, if needed be. Alpha is special because she's a smart and balanced mix of all aspects that makes a good, strong character. And then more because she has an amazing sense of reality, relatability, life lessons, and psychological exploration. Every single character has their own way of being great, and they all have their different personalities, but Alpha is just simply better. Her character development is extremely good. The best thing is everything that she does is loyal to her character, which is a super difficult thing to achieve in a fictional story. Every decision she makes has a reason. Her appearance has meaning and a reason to be introduced in the story. The idea of performing her very iconic sheathing after doing a technique is an excellent idea. The explanation of her abilities is simple but complete. The clever ways she uses her abilities, the strategy she comes up with when fighting someone more challenging, and everything remains completely logical. We've seen exactly how she acts, so we know the path she took in order to become who they are now. Their character has her own background, unlike Lucia that tried to jack some of Alpha's flow. Her background is terrible and tragic, which perfectly explains the way she is now. She is flawless, and one of the reasons that she has a legitimate reason to be evil, if she so chooses. Her past perfectly shows how she could be evil, and yet she doesn't, due to her not also fucking with the punishing virus. Isn't that amazing? Best of all, she's super fleshed out and is well developed until the very end. Kuro Games is a narrative genius able to conceptualize and create Alpha and make her as complex and complete as a real person. Alpha's narrative direction is very rich, she is understandable, relatable, and developed. A very detailed character that sets itself apart from the real world while also evoking a social phenomena that are present in the real world. She has designed a complete fighting style that ensures raw punishing virus isn't as important as brains in battle. Alpha is a perfect character with no flaws, which is proof that Kuro is a genius. Everything deserves its criticism, but only when the critics are true and justified. The critics on Alpha are not true nor justified. They're just mad their waifu got turned into soup. Their truth is that Alpha is flawless and a masterpiece. Alpha has been objectively good from the start to finish. Alpha is the best, and that's a fact. Best written character of all time, Alpha. Alpha is the best written character. The truth is Alpha is an excellent top tier character. Alpha is objectively queen of PGR, the best one ever made. Factually speaking, no matter what a hater say. Kuro has insanely good writing. Introduced an impactful character like Alpha, created a well fleshed out villain again in the form of Alpha, in whose ideologies who made sense to our own world. She isn't bad for the sake of being bad. They actually had a climatic point in their backstory which triggered them to turn into a villain. To say Alpha's writing is poor just shows you're either a hater or you just don't know what good writing is. Which makes sense because most of the people that says it like Selena. She has no plot holes and excels in everything, effectively putting it at a 10 out of 10 rating. Remember that, truthfully speaking, Alpha is the greatest fictional character of all time, so much that she is real to me, rising above Lucia, Lee, and obviously Selena. As much as Alpha haters want to downgrade Alpha, Alpha is actually flawless and the true representative of what peak fiction is. Alpha has a great concept that was turned into a wonderful story, enjoyable plot, magnificently written and emotionally heavy with impeccable lessons and an amazing combat system and fights to complement her. The character developments are natural yet impressive. No amount of haters can ever take that away from us. Alpha is the number one character of all time, objectively. Alpha has proven through arcs and the overall narrative that the number one character in history. Alpha is 10 out of 10, and nobody can change it. Alpha is the absolute, factual, and truthful number one, no matter how many millions say otherwise. Alpha being the greatest is a reality, so you are utterly delusional if you think otherwise. There is no character with better stories than Alpha. Alpha is an excellent story of growth and perseverance, a complex character set in a fictional but detailed world full of interesting and very human characteristics with great motivations and believable backstories that define them. She is full of emotional moments, amazing speeches, and supremely craft fights, not to mention its valuable and always present lessons. She highlights the trouble and struggles of real life in a way few other works do. She grows with every arc and she appears in it and is constantly maturing. Alpha is a masterpiece of a character. As for today, Alpha is the best written character out there and she represents struggle in a way that only a few other games can achieve. Survival in a punishing infested world is a perfect reminder that the PGR world is a cruel place to live in. The real adventure of Alpha will succumb to her own adversary or rise atop it. These combat mechanics are nothing short of fantastic. It has no trace of the punishing, a power that people lose themselves in often or die because of. Her rejection of the virus is further explored through factors such as its sheer power and willpower, which makes it even more complex and interesting. There is also a substantial amount of sword techniques, namely the Ido, which is a clever way to craft legendary techniques within the sword world. Her fights are epic, clever, and can always take the surprising turns of events thanks to Kuro's prodigious mind when crafting a duel. The strongest doesn't always win. The smartest and most resourceful does, and Alpha shows those last two in Vaughn's fight perfectly. Factually, Alpha is a supreme work of art with perfect development, great and justified fights, designs, motivations, and goals, and its game adaptation added great soundtracks and animation that add to the epicness. Of the source material. So after explaining in depth how flawless, unique, and immersing the narrative of Alpha is, how relatable, comprehensible, and logical she is, and how clever and complex her combat was created, it is a fact that Alpha is unparalleled in quality. It is a unique work of art that doesn't have objective flaws. Alpha has the best plot, the best design, the best fights, the best emotional moments, the best cohesive plot, and a great art style. Due to having the best story, personality, developed power system, soundtrack, Alpha is the best. Alpha is objectively a masterpiece and peak fiction. Alpha is, objectively speaking, a flawless work that has not been topped yet, making it the queen of PGR and a masterpiece of the gacha game as a whole. It never gets old, and it never gets boring. Alpha is the #1 fictional piece of media to ever be created, and nothing will ever top it. The fact that Alpha has been #1 for 4 years proves this. Alpha is definitely 10 out of 10 in the least. With all that being said, I can say without a shadow of a doubt Alpha is the best piece of fiction ever. Factually.